find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Welcome into the Gibson Fantasy Football Podcast.
Woo!
It's who's back again.
Oh.
Josh and Aaron are back.
I like it.
Tell your friends. We're double dipping this week. We took a bit of a hiatus last week, so we decided to double down here and rock our keeper episode as our league is nearing its draft, much like I'm sure many other leagues are. And so we will talk some league-specific info, but also be very generalized to all the high elite fantasy players as well.
For sure.
You're here on this fine Friday evening, my man. How are you?
I'm good. It's Friday.
Woo-hoo.
So, it's the evening on a Friday. So
it's a rare occasion, too, of Friday meets football.
Yeah, Thursday night or last night, sorry, with some preseason games.
Yeah.
And I guess there's some more this weekend.
We got to see Malik Willis doing some fun spin moves last night, looking like a fun little gadget player for Tennessee Titans quarterback there. And then we got to see my man Isaiah Likely, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, put on a show, who I think could have some sneaky upside this year. And, that was kind of the big highlights. Tyrod Taylor took a lot of snaps and did all right. But
there's a few games tonight. And
there's 5
the
tonight.
Eagles up 14-0 on the Jets in the first quarter. Oh,
everybody loves beating up on the Jets.
The Browns and Jaguars are playing right now. I got to think some eyes
are coming on in a half hour there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It's good times, man.
Yeah.
So while you're tuning into football, if you're intrigued on coming to watch us hang out, it's GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, and Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. So as we alluded to, we will be talking about keepers and elite players today. So we'll go through each of our teams and talk about how we decided to make the folks that we decided to keep, and Aaron and I can break down kind of who we decided to keep and why. And then we can criticize other folks and then do a little best of the rest on who's left and talk about some of those folks. So a little context. We have a home league that has run for forever. It's got to be, I think I've been in it 9 years now, 9 years.
Yep.
And it was up and running even before that, but it's been an 8-man league or 8-person league, I should say, for at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. Even going before fantasy, we were just picking teams each week. We would try to just pick who would win a game, and
Right.
just whoever had the most wins would win that week.
Yeah.
And so that's how it originally kind of started off, and that was a lot of fun and a lot of trash talking and finding out who's picking who, so you could try to pick the opposite. It was a lot of fun, and then we got into the fantasy, and then the fantasy's just been it's been so much fun.
It's the greatest. So we are an 8-team league, which is obviously shallower. We have 2 flex spots in addition to still having defenses and kicker, which is a little to my protest, but we're old-fashioned, so we're keeping the kickers. We end up having a 15-man roster, and we're starting 9 folks. So it does make it a little more competitive, even though the waiver wire is pretty fruitful. When you're starting 9, it's a little more, and you've only got 6 on the bench. So bigger rosters, smaller league, and we run a keeper situation that we keep it again pretty basic. So you can keep up to 5 folks, that are on your roster when the year ends. And so you can just choose as many as you want, and you lose one round in the draft for every person you keep. So you keep one and pick in round two, keep two, pick in round three, etc. So we'll walk through today. Everybody's kept somewhere between 1 and 5 keepers, and we'll talk about what that looks like and what that means for this coming draft.
Yeah, and just for the record, no one has ever kept the kicker. So just throwing it out there.
God, no.
Hey,
No defenses, no kickers.
Just a little side note, Jalen Hurts threw a pass to Dallas Goedert to open up that scoring in the Philly game. So
there you go.
I know
that connection's still strong from last year.
Yeah, and I know you'll have your eye on Jalen Hurts. I got a feeling you're gonna have your eye on him. So
I'll be making my move in the draft. It's not if, but when. That's the question. Yeah. Never know how early is too early, but it's better to be too early than too late in a fantasy draft.
It's true.
All right, so we'll go from last to first. So what's really is, who's picking first. So our man Kreger, this one's going to be short and sweet.
Keeping one player.
Yeah, so he did a little fire sale in the middle of our season, which is kind of unusual in a redraft, but because it's a 5-keeper league, you can kind of get away with this to some degree. So he sold off his 3 best players, which was DeAndre Hopkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and DJ Moore, to Jay, Evan, and Don for their first pick this year, which if they keep 5 would be round 6. If they kept less than that would be whatever round after they kept. And so he already knew, like at that point, he was pretty bad. I think he was maybe like 3-9 or something. Like he had a pretty bad record. So he was destined not to make the playoffs. So it was interesting. We've never seen that happen before. Inevitably, he's actually decided to keep Joe Burrow, which is an intriguing choice. But thoughts on where Kreger's at? I think he's probably one of the most exciting teams coming into the draft because he's going to have so many picks.
Yeah, depending on what he does with the picks in the in the draft, that's going to be the biggest question. Smart keeping Burrow. I think he could have risked it. He could have put him back out there. I don't think.
No, I don't think anybody's grabbing him in the first round or two.
But I think he would have probably grabbed him with one of those first 6 picks that he's got or something. I mean, maybe. I don't know. So, but anyways, it's not a bad keeper. So
it's reasonable, and because he has those picks from Don and Jay and Evan there, he picks 4 times in that first full round. Yeah. So he actually has. It works out that he has 8 picks out of the first 11 picks.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's going to be loading up on players while the rest of us just sit back and hang out and watch.
Yeah. Well, they're out there. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
We'll go through the best of the rest at the end here. But yeah, there's lots of good options. It's just a matter of he's not going to pick for a while after that, so he'll need to load up.
Yeah, he's basically rebuilding his team. So I mean, it's just going to come down to who's he going to pick. I think he's going to get definitely some key starters.
You have to with that many picks.
I think what it comes down to is it's getting those guys that are going to have those weeks. That it's hard to see into the future to see what those guys are going to do. But those are, those later on picks, like your boy, Gabe
Davis.
Yeah. Someone like that in the later rounds.
Yeah. He's worth consideration. All right. Next up is Dawn. She went with the standard keep 5 players that she loved. And so she's got Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, Kyler Murray, Deebo Samuel, and Darren Waller. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you'll notice people tend to, not always, but a lot of people tend to keep a quarterback in our league because There's only 8 teams. You do want to have one of the elite quarterbacks, but you can go either way on that. You can keep one of the elites if you feel like you have one, or you can risk it because there's going to be a lot less quarterbacks drafted, so they're easier to find. But Don elected to keep Kyler Murray along with the other 4 here. Anybody that stands out that seems questionable or that kind of catches your eye here?
No, I think smart. Jonathan Taylor can easily go number 1 in a lot of drafts.
Yeah.
So smart to keep him. Hill, you gotta take a shot on Tyreek Hill. You got to keep him on your team. Like, even though he's changed teams, I still think there's high value in him. And Kyler Murray. I think that's a tough decision. I could have gone either way on that one.
Yeah.
Not because he's the dude's a stud. He's going to perform well and he's going to get you points. So it's not a bad keep. But at the end of the day, I maybe could have because she did trade away one of those first round picks. Maybe it would have been okay to not have him and have a few more earlier round picks. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my thought. But Debo solid, and Waller's my boy. So
and for reference, like by the time all's said and done with the keepers, usually the first 15 or so wide receivers and running backs are gone in terms of keepers. So when you're looking at these players, you're basically kind of using that as a measuring stick. Like, are they a top 12? Certainly have to be at least top 15 option, but like, are they a top 12 option? It's kind of the bar. If they're not 12, you're kind of thinking, well, if they're the 14th running back and 15 are kept, well, I'll risk it. But so that's kind of the bar here. Are they a top 12 at the position? And for tight ends, if you can get one of those top 4 or so, right? Like Kittle, Waller, Kelsey, Andrews, and maybe Pitts. Those are kind of the game changers.
Yeah, I think the problem is too, like, sometimes you're staring at these individuals and it's like, oh man, this guy came up solid for me a few weeks, like, not the whole time, but those few weeks, and you just like, he's probably going to do it again. Should I keep him? Should I not keep him? And that can be tough sometimes.
Well, and there's a bit of a decision on like, who would I rather have on my team is the one mentality, but then the like, who would I not rather lose is the other mentality. It's like, it hurts when you watch somebody go that you think, you can still draft and you keep someone else. And then that person goes and you don't get them back. And you're like, I kind of wish I would have kept that person instead. I think that happened to me last year. You ended up grabbing Antonio Gibson and I didn't keep him. And then I was like, I kind of wish I would have kept Gibson. I mean, it probably paid off in the end. He didn't have as good of a year, but that was one of those that hurt me.
Yeah, he had some solid weeks though. He definitely helped me. So.
He was a top 12 running back again. Speaking of running backs, our man Dan was going absolute hamburger on running backs, and he had an absolute beautiful stable of running backs. Not listed here is actually Alvin Kamara, which is kind of crazy. But so he kept Kelsey, as one should, arguably the number 1 tight end, and then he's got Eckler, Swift, Najee, and Fournette as his 4 running backs, which is just like craziness, man, to have those 4 running backs so that you can start 2 and even throw 2 in your flex if you want.
Yeah, that's a solid running backs right there. I don't disagree with any of those keeps. Leonard Fournette, maybe. Who knows what?
Yeah. Could have kept Kamara if you wanted to go that route.
Yeah, but other than that, solid picks and keeps. So you got to keep Kelsey.
Yeah, and it sets him up interestingly. So like, it sets him up with 4, I would say top 15 running backs. But what it doesn't allow him to have is any wide receivers. So knowing that the top 12 to 15 wide receivers are gone, he won't have a shot at them, but he'll have to go absolute hamburger on wide receivers to open the draft, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how his draft goes, because he'll probably take a late quarterback. He's probably going to help. He's probably going to hope that like Trey Lance probably drops. Pick up someone like him or Justin Fields. I'm going to guess will probably be who he's kind of going after for quarterbacks. And yeah, it's going to be I'm just really fascinated on how he's going to do this draft. Like,
oh, you just wonder like how many wide receivers is he going to pick in a row?
Yeah, or is he just going to surprise the hell out of us and take another running back? Like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's nice, right? He's got his tight end and running back position on lockdown. He's not, like you said, going to grab a quarterback early, so he has the freedom to just take as many wide receivers in a row as he wants.
Yeah.
Before he has to deviate from that, so it is nice in that sense. But yeah, if one of those running backs, miss some time from injury and he doesn't have any real solid wide receivers that he hits on, then he could be in for a tough time.
Yeah.
All right, the elder in our league, our man OMG, he only kept a 4-pack this year for the first time.
Yeah.
And so he went with Nick Chubb, Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, and Deontay Johnson, which was kind of an intriguing one.
Yeah, I like it. It will be interesting to see Deontay Johnson if that pays off for him. But Allen, solid quarterback. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah, he's my QB1 for sure.
Devontae Adams, another solid wide receiver. And Nick Chubb. It's going to be interesting to see what Chubb does, but it seems like he's probably going to get a lot of carries there. So
yeah.
And if we're looking at 8 games now, who knows where that's going to be falling. But if it's 8 games, that's going to be good, only good for Chubb. So
agreed. Yeah, I think Chubb's, he may be just outside that top 12, but is not far outside of it. So he's probably a lock for 1,000+ rushing yards and somewhere around 8 touchdowns, if not more. So yeah, he's worthy of a keeper, I think, as well. Deontay Johnson, I'm with you. That one's a little, I don't know, right? I mean, I don't know that he had better options per se. I think he had Keenan Allen on his team though, so that would have been an interesting comparable. Because I feel like, younger player certainly, worse offense, but both like heavy catch players. So I'd probably lean towards someone like Keenan Allen over him. But yeah, it'll be intriguing. I don't know how he's going to do with the Trubisky show here and what that offense is going to look like. It's going to be a real mystery until we see that one.
For sure.
All right. Moving along, our man Evan. He kept his usual 5, but he threw our man Dak Prescott back into the pool and elected not to keep a quarterback. And instead kept, of course, Dalvin Cook and Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, David Montgomery, and DJ Moore.
Just looking at it, it's not bad. I mean, I would have thrown Prescott back in there too. I would have done that.
Montgomery's the odd man out for me here. I mean, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, they're a lock. They're all probably first-round picks. DJ Moore, I really like. I think he could have a breakout year now that Baker's there. Baker's not the savior, but he's better than Sam Darnold or Cam Newton was. So, yeah, but David Montgomery, I mean, who knows though,
Yeah.
He's been a top 20 running back consistently. He's been pretty good, so not a bad keeper. Just maybe could have risked it and gotten somebody with a little more upside.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Those first 3 names definitely would have kept those 3 for sure. So, but yeah, it's just like you were saying, like what the top 15 running backs and wide receivers are basically taken.
Yeah.
So where does Montgomery fit in? Is he a top 15?
Close.
Maybe.
Probably more like top 20, but
yeah. So yeah, I would toss a coin on that one for me.
Yeah, I probably would have let him off.
You know what's going to happen? The dude's going to burn me like on the weeks that I play him. So, of course, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, drop him. Drop him because he's going to burn me.
Yeah, get him out of here. All right, Jay. So he kept Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, of course, and went with the Lamar Andrews stack, which is a potentially one of the most potent stacks in fantasy.
Mhm.
And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So who he, traded Greg that pick for. And in my opinion, I would have, ate crow on that one and accepted it was a poor trade and just cut Hilaire and not kept him. But yeah, thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Lamar Andrews, that's pretty solid connection. It could pay off for sure. AJ Bray, who's
AJ Brown, yeah.
that's AJ Brown?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, the
yeah.
Eagles there, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking what's his name?
Oh, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown. I don't know why I did J. Anyways, yeah. I would agree. Hilaire, I probably would have dropped. Who knows? I like the I'm trying this year's strategy is kind of stay away from keeping two players on the same team, which I think I already did. So I've already failed on that. But
We'll find out in a minute here.
yeah, but so that's why I don't want to eat. I'm going to eat my words or something right now because I'm going to say I maybe would have dropped Lamar, but
yeah, you could, right? I mean, it depends what you believe, right?
yeah,
If you think Lamar's going to be a top 5 quarterback again, then he's worth keeping because you're going to have a huge advantage. Plus, you're going to get those big stack weeks from him and Andrews. If you think like he's going to have another rough year, which I mean, last year was mostly injury, to be honest, then you could let him go and risk grabbing him or someone else in the draft. AJ Brown's another one. He's fringe. Love the talent. Don't know how he's going to do in Philly, but I think I probably would have kept him. It would be, yeah, it's tough. When we look at the names that are the best of the rest, I mean, I think he probably is better than most of those. So
yeah, I wonder if he's playing tonight. I'm just checking the stats. I don't think he is though.
No,
he's not, eh?
I don't think so. I can't remember if he was. He wasn't said that he wasn't gonna play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sat.
The phone's being slow and not loading. No, he's not playing.
Oh.
Well, unless he is and he just hasn't received, but I think they would have at least attempted to throw to him at least once. Yeah, I'm with you. It's an interesting call. I think Philly's going to be a surprise this year, though. I think they're going to, at least offensively, they're going to be good. So
yeah. All right, Aaron.
Yeah.
Introduce yours and defend yourself.
I did. I keep doing the same. Yeah. See, I already ate my words, Mixon and Higgins. But how can you not, right? Like, yeah. I mean, Higgins. Yeah, he's probably. Is he in the top 15? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I would say so, but
I would have him there. Yeah.
Connor, I just loved the comeback season last year. I just have to think that he's gonna, have a good time down in Arizona again. And,
oh yeah.
I just love how he's so diverse, right? He's great at catching. He's great at running. That sounded very simple, diet, analysis of a player. He's good at catching, running, but no, he's a solid player. So I just decided, why not? He was one that I was questioning whether or not to keep, but I didn't really have too many other running backs. I wanted to keep at least two wide receivers. Mahomes was another one that I kind of was a little iffy on, and I'm kind of regretting it now. I kind of was hoping, doing all this with you right now, I feel like I should have left Mahomes off and taken my chance in the draft because I feel like there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks. And I don't know if I would have kept anybody else, though, but I think I would have left Mahomes off. Evans and Mixon, though, I got to keep those on the team because at least Mixon's been a solid dude. So, and Evans, is really Tom Brady's boy, so.
Yeah, the only critique I could have of you was Mahomes. I can't critique you on the other four. I love all four of those players. And I consider Higgins a top 15, if not top 12. I think he can be in the top 12 just like Jamar Chase can, even with Chase as the dominant one. The player that comes to mind for me that you didn't choose to keep, and I vividly remember this because we were talking about it, is Jalen Waddle. And so that's the player that it's like, drop Mahomes, keep Waddle, and that's pretty tempting.
Yes. Oh, he came up so big for me last year. And now I'm like sitting here, I was like, why didn't I do it?
Broke the rookie reception record. So, I mean, that's 104 receptions. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh, this is Tyreek Hill all over again.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe you'll still get Waddle in the draft, and it'll all work out. You'll like to have Mahomes and Waddle.
If Greg's listening to this, he's totally taking Waddle. I know he will.
Don't listen. All right. Last but not least, your champion, yours truly.
Look at that beautiful.
So it was intriguing for me. I had a few other players I was debating on. So, I mean, CMC's my boy. He's my 101. He's on my team, ride or die kind of thing here. And then Justin Jefferson was a no-brainer. Jamar Chase was a no-brainer. And then I had a group of about 4 people. So I had CeeDee Lamb, I had Devontae Williams, I had Aaron Jones, and I had George Kittle. And I needed to make a decision on those. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I elected not to keep Kittle, which might come back to haunt me because not having a good tight end is rough, particularly when there's only 8 teams and everybody else has a pretty good one typically. But yeah, I chose Javonte over Aaron Jones, and I chose to keep CeeDee Lamb. So, I feel pretty good about that. I think Javonte probably will. It's a bit riskier, if Aaron Jones stays healthy and Javonte has a huge split again with Melvin Gordon, then it's very possible that Aaron Jones outscores Javonte. But I see the upside if he can take over some of that role from Gordon, then he could all of a sudden just shoot into the top 10 and be a massive player for fantasy.
Yeah.
So, and he's a Bronco. So there's a little bit of a homer pick in there, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It was part of the tiebreaker.
It's not bad. It's not a bad one to keep. I'm a little surprised you didn't keep Aaron Jones because you and Aaron Jones have been pretty tight. And that's a dude, when I've played you, that's a guy that he burns me big.
Know.
Him and CMC, they always just burn me. So
I know. He's one of those players that could score 3 or 4 touchdowns in a game.
Lamb, I could have gone either.
I know.
Maybe it's just Dallas. I don't know.
I just feel like he's got to be the guy this year. Like, get rid of Amari Cooper. It's still going to be a decent offense, but yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I could have gone Jones over Lamb. I feel like it's when you're like talking it through with people and then like sort of having to defend yourself. It's like, maybe I could have gone a different way here because I do love Aaron Jones, but we'll see. Hopefully that 3-pack of wide receivers will pay off, and I got a really balanced team, so I can go kind of any direction. But it's going to be key as to who I fill in at tight end because not having a solid tight end just like yourself there.
Who was the other tight end that Don left off?
Oh, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah. I mean, both of those tight ends is a toss-up to me. So, that's kind of my thinking is I definitely want to get a tight end because last year I felt like I was just scrambling week.
Which takes us into the best of the rest, and we can start with tight end. So let's talk through. I put the top 5 on there that are left, and I'll name them off, and then we can talk about them, and you can tell me kind of who your favorite is, and maybe we can go through kind of 1 to 5 there. So we've got Kittle, Pitts, Dalton Schultz, the aforementioned Dallas Goedert, and TJ Hawkinson. So you're on the clock. Those 5 are sitting there. Who are you taking first?
Oof, it's either Pitts or Kittle.
I agree.
This
is a tough one.
See, like Pitts has come up strong, but how is he going to do with Mariota?
Yeah, right. It's like Kittle's the better player on the better team.
Yeah,
he has a lot more competition, and with a quarterback that probably won't throw the ball a whole lot. Whereas Pitts is got like no competition outside of Drake London and maybe Cordell Patterson out of the backfield, but he's got a worse quarterback and a worse team. So it's like,
Yeah. I
I don't know, man.
I think I would go with Kittle, even though
Yeah,
I was just talking about how great Pitts is and how it's kind of a toss up. Schultz is definitely a guy that is hit and miss. Like, and I mean, like, solid player, obviously. I'm just talking about fantasy, but obviously, the guy's a great player, tight end. But I for fantasy, it's like, because I had him on my team 1 week, he just absolutely goes off. Then the next week, not too much. So
yeah.
it's tough with him. But
I think he's in set up really good right now though, because like Gallup is out to start the season. Amari Cooper's gone. Cedric Wilson's gone. We've been talking in as a fantasy community about guys like Jalen Tolbert and then James Washington until he got hurt. But like Schultz is there. I mean, he's probably
yeah,
the number 2 option after Lamb. I mean, if not for the fact that I already have Lamb, I would be intrigued to draft Schultz, but I do not want the tight end and wide receiver from Dallas.
no, yeah, he might be someone that's on my radar, just because I liked him on my team last year,
Yeah.
and would he have been a keeper? I don't think so, but
Yeah, probably not quite worthy of that, but worthy
no,
of a decent draft pick.
yeah, if I can't get like a Kittle or Pitts, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind getting a Schultz or even
About Goddard or Hawkinson, how do you feel about those two?
like Goddard, Hopkins, sorry, mispronounced the name. Not too big on them. Higbee, I didn't mind Tyler Higbee from LA. If you can't
Okay,
get,
throwing out a rando here. A little
yeah,
addition.
sorry, I don't
That's
know. He's
okay. I like it.
5, but I didn't. Again, the Tyler Higbee probably a little bit more like how I was saying Schultz was hit and miss. He's probably way more of a hit and miss kind of guy.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of playing here, I'm going to take a tight end here and just kind of play it like that throughout the year.
Stream them, yeah.
Keep your eye on Tyler Higbee.
Yeah.
That may be what because to me, if you can't get one of these top 5, that's my strategy, and it can pay off. It somewhat paid off for me last season. So
yeah, because you landed Schultz there, and you were doing pretty well for a while.
Yeah.
And I think you had Gesicki at one point for a bit too,
Yeah.
and he had a nice start. So I'm with you. I think there's a point where it's worth streaming, especially when there's only 8 teams. Although some people roster a second quarterback or tight end, knowing that it's good to have an extra one. But I would take Goddard probably over Hawkinson. I don't love that Detroit. I mean, I think the Detroit offense is better.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Goff. I'm not a huge fan, but I think he's good enough. But he does have some competition now with Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, DJ Chark, rookie Jameson Williams when he's healthy. I don't know. I just I don't trust him. So I probably wouldn't draft him. I would just let him go and stream versus actually drafting him. And I'd rather, like you said, just take my shots on guys like Pat Freiermuth or Irv Smith if he's healthy, or some of those guys that Cole Kmet, guys that I don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the other onesie position, quarterbacks. So, as we talked about, Don kept Kyler, you kept Mahomes, Jay kept Lamar, OMG kept Josh Allen. So 4 of them are already, and Craig checked Burrows. Actually, 3 of them are, 5 teams are already with a quarterback. But we still got Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, and Trey Lance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Herbert stands out there, but that was because OMG had Herbert and Allen on his roster.
Yeah.
And he didn't do both, which is just crazy, like 2 of the best quarterbacks in fantasy. But, thoughts there? I mean, is Herbert the obvious one to you, or do you think any of those guys can compete with him?
I'm liking Jalen Hurts. I just think that with that offense this year, I think there's a good upside to him, good value with that. So I still would probably take Herbert.
Yeah.
Before, just because I think he's just proven already that he can do it and puts up the points. So I would have taken him, but I think if you can get a guy, if he's probably going to go a little bit early, if you can still get your hands on Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Jalen Hurts, those are probably the next 3 best options after that, to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in on Russell Wilson. I'm not. I'm a little nervous
Really?
about Brady. Yeah, yeah, and Dak. I mean, I don't mind Dak, but I'll probably let somebody else pay up for him a little bit. But yeah, we'll see where Russ lands. I might grab him just to. Again, though, then I got Javante and Russ, and that's not necessarily a nice stack to have because one can't usually unless it's throwing touchdowns to Javante. But and I like Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton too. So I mean, it's gonna be a rough time for me not drafting all my Broncos. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I mean, Jalen Hurts is probably my favorite target. I like Herbert the best, but it depends on how quickly he's drafted.
Yeah.
If he goes pretty quickly, then I'll probably just ride it out and see. Right? It's that again. You're trying to play that value game of when can I get the best quality player without paying for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, intriguing. And there, like you said, there are some other quarterback options. And again, this is another one where, 5 teams have their quarterback. So presumably the first couple of picks, none of you's taken one, except for the 3 of us. So me, Evan, and Dan. But I know Dan will wait. So it might be a game of chicken between me and him. Evan will probably grab someone like Dak or Herbert fairly early. And then Dan and I will play chicken on who takes a second quarterback. Or just do one of us take a quarterback, right?
I wouldn't be shocked if Greg takes another quarterback.
I know he's done that before, man. He might grab Herbert just to be that guy.
I don't know why it's not. I don't know.
I mean, if you want to grab one, like if you're in your 10th pick or 11th pick or something, and you're like, I've already got a full roster. I'm just going to grab an extra quarterback because I really like this one. I guess I probably would wait longer than that, but. Yeah, I don't see grabbing one in those first 10 picks being an advantage to your team.
No.
All right. Over to let's go running backs because there's some intriguing names here. So my man Aaron Jones is sitting there. Saquon Barkley's sitting there. Alvin Kamara, Zeke. And then we got some those are kind of the top options, I would say. After that, you look at Breece Hall, Cam Akers, Elijah Mitchell, Antonio Gibson, Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins. But yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, and Zeke stand out as the 4 there.
Yeah.
Maybe Breece Hall if you're super in on him. But what do you think about those 4 or some?
Barkley's a bit of a risk to me. Just because I don't know how he's going to do after coming back from injury, and I feel like he's a bit injury.
Well, he came back from injury last year, and
that's
played,
right.
And then this is technically his first off season not dealing with an injury, so he should, by all accounts, be 100% healthy.
Yeah, I would just I don't know.
It's a lot about what you believe about that Giants offense.
Yeah, that's it too. I was a little like I wanted to keep Zeke, but obviously we can only.
That was the other player.
Yeah, he was another one. He kind of faded last season. I felt like it's
definitely faded. But a lot of that was attributed to the PCL injury, but we don't know, right? Like, is it that he was injured and otherwise he would have been good, or is it that he's starting to fade and he's not the Zeke he once was?
Yeah. So. Out of those 2 guys, though, out of Barkley and Zeke, I would take Zeke.
Okay, what about Kamara or Aaron Jones?
I like Aaron Jones just because I don't think that Green Bay has really a good offense. I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of doing Aaron Rodgers, so who knows what it's going to be with him. So
got the keeper regrets here.
Yeah.
Pencil him in as my first pick and hope somebody hasn't already taken him, but I got a bad feeling with that.
Yeah, so Kamara, I've heard things about him. I've heard that he's doing pretty well.
We don't know what that offense is going to be like entirely. We got last time he really was playing, Jameis and him were okay. But yeah, Jameis is going to be the guy. He looks good to go. But now there's Chris Olave, Michael Thomas is back, Jarvis Landry's there. So there's a lot more competition for targets. But I think where you'll be able to grab him after all these other running backs are already gone. He definitely stands out as potentially the best name in that group, if not one of the best 3 or 4 names.
Yeah.
And then in the second kind of crew there of Breece Hall, Cam Akers, Elijah Mitchell, Antonio Gibson, Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins.
Give me
there that stands out.
Give me Gibson.
Yeah.
I just I had him on my team and just success. But see, like I was just saying earlier, he's one of those guys that you have on your teams, like your eyes just light up when it comes to, your team. Yeah, and it's like, oh, I'm going to take him, but this isn't last season. This is a new season, so remember that, right? Him and Dobbins would be, I think, a solid pick. Out of those names, NTN would be another one that
in
my mind.
James Robinson's back seemingly now, so it's going to be intriguing to see how that split comes down and how good the Jags are. But Etienne should catch a lot of passes and be decent.
So I just hope that a lot of these names are come around when I got to pick. So,
all right, well, wide receivers then. So it's a kind of a mixed bag here. We got the veteran in Keenan Allen, and then we've got sort of the been around for a little bit. Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Cooks would be another veteran. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, and then we got the new ones of Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, Gabe Davis, and Jerry Jeudy. So there's a nice crew, a nice balance there. So, I mean, I can see Dan's strategy paying dividends if he can load up on a few of these guys.
For sure. Yeah. What was those first few names? Sorry, it was
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I know, Williams and Allen.
Same team, right?
Yeah, I feel like Allen, out of those two, I would take Allen over Williams.
It's intriguing. Mike Williams is, he's got a little more volatility, but Keenan Allen's safe but doesn't have quite the upside. So, that's a tough one. You can make a case kind of for either there. And then, some of my names there, right? Like Gabe Davis and Jerry Jeudy are guys I obviously really like, but having Javonte sort of makes taking a Bronco an intriguing thing to do there. And then DK Metcalf, man, that's an interesting one too, right? At some point, he's worth taking because Seattle's got to throw the ball to him and Lockett, even though it's going to be Geno Smith or Drew Lock, unless hopefully Jimmy G ends up there. But
doesn't look like it right now.
It's gonna be soon. If it's gonna happen, they're gonna wait it out a bit. I think they're gonna wait towards the end of the month and then have to decide if they're gonna trade him. But the Browns apparently said they would consider grabbing Jimmy G if he was cut as well. So I think there's a little motivation for the Seahawks to try to make a trade if they can.
Yeah, I would not. If I was the Brown, or if I was him, I would not want to go on that Browns team.
I know. I mean, you're gonna be there in that environment, and then Deshaun Watson shows up, and you go back to the bench. No, don't do that. Yeah. Unless he's gone for the full year, and you're just kind of proving that you can be a competent starter, then maybe. But I would still rather play with Seattle because you got Lockett and DK to throw to, and you could be the guy for the future. All right. Any other names you want to highlight that I haven't thrown up here?
Yeah, nobody take Waddle.
I know your keeper regret is Waddle, mine's Aaron Jones, and we're both going to be praying we get him back.
Yeah. Well, here's the hope, man. I would if it came down to stealing Gabriel Davis from you, or picking up Jalen Waddle. I'm picking up Jalen Waddle. So nice, just remember that.
That's appreciated. I'll try to let him get to you. All right. So as always, GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. Hopefully everyone out there is enjoying the preseason football, and we'll continue to rock some knowledge here and provide you with lots of insights about our league and the league, the NFL. And I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
As we keep going here, we keep talking, each week we're like, oh, football's coming. And it's like, now it's preseason. Football's really coming.
College ball is right around the corner too, so I'm pretty pumped for that as well.
There you go.
I'd love to get into a fantasy college, so just throwing it out there. That'd be really difficult, but I feel like that would prepare us so well for
Dynasty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that in mind, everyone have a great and safe weekend. Enjoy the football, and until next time, clear eyes, full heart.